Hi guys, welcome to Classic Sitcoms, Facts, and Trivia. Appreciate you being here. Before we get started, I ask you to please subscribe. There you go. Appreciate it. Today's video is on Cheers and the real reason that Shelley Long, who played Diane, left the show. Let's see. Sam and Diane's Will They, Won't They was the main attraction on Cheers. Without a doubt, Cheers was one of the most classic sitcoms that was basically anything on TV. And truly, so much of that had to do with the complicated dynamic between Sam and Diane. Without a doubt, they ended up being one of the best sitcom couples. And that's saying something. As we all know, there have been a lot of terrible couples in sitcoms. While so much about their relationship was somewhat unhealthy, creators of the show, Jim Burrows and Les and Glenn Charles, knew they had a Tracy Hepburn connection on their hands. But the relationship just wasn't meant to be. It's because Shelley Long decided to leave the show, a decision that she still doesn't regret. Here's the real reason why she left the show. According to Sun Sentinel, Shelley Long decided to leave Cheers not because of his massive incident, because of a culmination of disagreements, most of which were her co-stars, who seemed to be really troubled by her behavior. The crew also were irritated by some of Shelley Long's antics and the fact that they were left in the dark about whether or not she would renew her contract for the 1986 fifth season. This fell in line with the diva's image she had carved out for herself, and this is basically something she admits. I'd gotten into a routine of going to my dressing room and meditating at lunch. Shelley Long described to GQ in a fascinating dissension of the show. I needed to rest, just let all of it go, because I really felt sometimes like I was physically pulling the plot, and it was heavy. I'm sure it didn't look great, but I was going into my dressing room at lunch. I wish I could have hung out with the cast and got lunch, but it's not restful for me in a public dining room to eat. It's just not. And I was exhausted by the end of the morning because I tried to deliver as much of a performance as I could for each run through. Now, the fifth season was when things started to get a bit rough. In terms of managing the show, Assistant Director Thomas LaFaro told GQ, Shelley believed that she was the new Lucille Ball, and she would spend hours after run-through talking about the writers, about her character and the story, just talking it to death. They would indulge her, but they indulged her to a point where they couldn't stand it anymore. While the crew of the show, including co-creator Glenn Charles, believed that Shelley just went overboard with her character, especially in comparison to the creative process of the rest of the cast, Shelley maintains that she was just passionate about playing Diane. There was scuttlebutt about me talking too much and about being passionate about Diane, Shelley explained. But I thought, that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. Don't tell me not to get involved in the discussion. Still, her co-stars, especially Ted Danson, truly loathed the way she worked. Shelley's process would have infuriated you if you had been mean or if it hadn't been purposeful, Ted stated. But it was purposeful. It was her way of being Diane, and there's not a mean bone in Shelley's body. I had trouble hanging around her until we stood on stage together, and then it was heaven. Of course, their chemistry was truly made Cheers a special show, so it makes sense why people were so worried when she left. Now, while there were issues behind the scenes, it seems as though Shelley was ready to leave in December of '86. When news broke, fans thought she was destroying the show. Cheers writers were the finest in television, but I felt like I was repeating myself. It bothered me a little, and I was getting movie offers, which made people think, oh, she's so snooty. She thinks she's going to do movies. I did an interview with a woman writer, and she had this abrasive attitude, Shelley described. I had spoken with her over 5 years that we've done Cheers, so I said, are you upset that I'm leaving the show? And there was this long pause, and she said, yeah, I guess I am. But most people tended to understand because I had a 2-year-old baby, and I wanted to spend more time with family, which was the other reason I left the show, and I did spend more time with family. It was a good decision. It was really good. I've heard different things of why she left, and I tend to believe this because the things I heard, it all kind of wraps up into this one thing. I do believe her ego got away from her a bit, and there she was right. The writers were some of the best, because I mean, after she left, everybody thought the show was dead, and they revived that show, and I liked it even better personally. That's all I got for you. I will be posting a video on Thanksgiving, just in case you guys have some free time and want to get away from the family for a while. So I'll be looking for that. Have a great day. God bless you. And I'll be praying for you.